I'm Andrew Little, and I came to St. Louis in the early 90s, and I didn't have an NFL team. I was an NFL fan, and fall for me and football went hand in hand. From Saturday to Monday night, I, uh, was obsessed with watching football. I'd watch any game that was on, just kind of devouring those things. And outside of college football, I really did not have an NFL team. I watched teams that the networks told me to watch, but I hadn't had my fandom, or it wasn't tied to just any one team. So the Rams came to town in the mid 90s, and they were the St. Louis Rams, and I was very excited about this. And they were mine, and they were my team, and that was very neat for me. I took them, warts and all, and I knew at the time they were not a very good team. We had Rich Brooks as our coach, Jerome Bettis, Chris Miller, Alexander Wright, just to name a few of those players that kind of came with us. And they were horrible. They were not very good, but it was my team. It was the NFL team that we had. And after a couple of years of this, that team became the greatest show on turf. And that was exciting. And for a couple years, I was a fan of one of the most Premier League teams in the NFL, one of the greatest teams. And it sustained a success that was just amazing to watch and was fun to watch. And it was very contagious. But in the NFL, with such parity, that success eventually wanes. And it steadily waned. And we went from these magnificent arms of Kurt Warner and Mark Bulger to the merry-go-round of quarterbacks that we had here. And names like Feely, Martin, Bowler, Clemens, Hill, names that you don't know unless you follow football. Our coaches also rotated through rather quickly. In a 21-year period, we went from Brooks. We eventually had Dick Vermeil. We went to the, machinations of the professor, Martz. Then we had Vitt, Linehan, Haslett, Spagnuolo, and eventually Fisher. And there's some irony in that, having him as a coach. And with each new season, though, I'll tell you this, my hope would spring eternal. It was going to be our year again. It was going to be, and I rooted for the Rams. And it would end in disappointment. I won't lie, it was. I was vested in it. But regardless of that, the St. Louis Rams were my team. And I was proud to call them that. I didn't jump the bandwagon to say I had any other team. The St. Louis Rams were my team. As we all know, Tuesday, January 12th, 2016, the Rams returned to Los Angeles. And I was very upset about this. I followed it the whole day, and I said, this isn't going to happen. This isn't going to happen. But they left, and they're gone. And, this decision that was made really upset me more than I anticipated. And that reason was twofold. The first was the outright lies and deceptions and greed that really dominated this process, and not the guidelines and the fairness that St. Louis was told to believe. Kroenke, Goodell, and NFL executives, shame on you, because you laid waste to St. Louis on your way out of town. Not only did you burn the bridge, but you nuked St. Louis with your words and with this process. Because, ladies and gentlemen, let's just admit this for a moment. This was a move not about what was good for the Rams. It was about what was good for the NFL, and it was about money. It was more money that they were going to make in St. Louis. It was the boatload and the truckload of money that they were going to make in Los Angeles. And it was more than St. Louis was going to offer you. And the fact that you didn't own up to that and say, hey, this is about money, not about St. Louis, just tell us the truth. And that really stung. And I didn't care for that at all, because I think that's a horrible, horrible way of doing business. But it is a business, and you're in the business of making money. So good for you. The second reason's a lot more personal to me. And in the late '90s through early 2000s, my father, who's passed, been passed for about 8 years now. He took an interest in football and took an interest in the St. Louis Rams, not because they were popular, not because of the greatest show on turf, but because I'd taken an interest in them. And he wanted to share my love of football. And he did. He wanted to share my love of football as something that we could bond over as a father and as a son. Because if it was important to me, it was important to him. And these times with my father was very special, my dad. And it was a special time. I can't put into words and articulate what that time meant. I'm just not the wordsmith enough to do it, and I'm not going to spend a half an hour and 40 minutes or 45 minutes to explain that to you. But these were times that I really cherished, and part of the reason I was mad when they left and they made that decision. And that's why it hurt. It was nice to kind of figure that out. But these were also times that I was also starting to have with my daughters. Because, as Roger Goodell and NFL likes to remind us, football is family. And it is, right? But as I sit here right now, I'm a man with an NFL team. I'm not going to go chasing my fandom after the Rams. I appreciate everything the Rams, the St. Louis Rams, those players did for years. From Kurt Warner to Marshall Faulk to Isaac Bruce to Torrey Holt, and the greatest show on turf, and all the guys that were a part of that, Mike Jones in the tackle, and Aeneas Williams, and all those guys that came in here, and even the current Rams. Todd Gurley is going to be amazing running back. Aaron Donald just is we're just starting to see him come around. Chris Long, James Laurinaitis, Ogletree, Tim McDonald. I wish those guys, just great luck in Los Angeles and professional career. But I'm not going to be a Rams fan. I'm not going to root against them, but I'm not going to be rooting for them either. Because, it's like when that girl breaks up with you. I'm not going to go chase after that and be that pathetic, because Kroenke has made it very clear he wants nothing to do with St. Louis. Native Missourian or not, I don't think you're welcome back in this state. But before I digress, I'm a man with an NFL team because mine has left me. It's gone. And I refuse to really be a bandwagon fan, tying my loyalties to the hot team of the moment. That's not something that I like to do. I want a team that I can root for. I want a team that I can root for, not only during those great times where they're wildly successful, but the inevitable lean years that do happen in NFL franchises from time to time. I want a team that respects its fans and the community that it's in. I want a team that strives to put a quality product on the field year after year and models that consistency. I'm a free agent fan, and my loyalty to an NFL team is really for sale right now. It's the yard signs up. It's there, and it's there to be bought. And it's to the highest bidder. So NFL owners and fan bases, your job is twofold. Convince me on why I should root for your team. Why should I root for your team? And then I need you to fund my transition to this new team, because I have a lot of St. Louis Rams stuff. And hey, I'm not going to shred it and I'm not going to burn it, but it's not coming out of the closet anytime soon. It's probably going to be very gently put into a box, and I'll look at it later when time's ready to heal that wound. But I need new gear. I need new memorabilia. I need tickets to show my support for my new NFL team, because that's what this is about. This is about money. So NFL teams and fan bases, please leave reasons as to why I should be a fan of your team. Why should I root for them? What makes your team so special that I should invest my heart, my time, and my money into supporting my new team? Also, I need an initial signing bonus to do this, because really it's a lot of that money that I had that invested in the Rams is tied up, and that's going to be something I need, something to get started. So I need that signing bonus. I need that transition, that money for the gear to show my loyalty, that merchandise that I can hang and say, hey, I am a fan of this NFL team. and tickets to go to that game and take my kids and take my wife to those games and see them. Um, so what I'm asking you to do is please go to my GoFundMe page and my GoFundMe site. It is under the title of NFL Free Agent Fan, and I'll leave a link to it below this video to help support my transition. I'd really appreciate that, and I look forward to hearing what people have to say and their comments and their reasons why. And thank you for your time and taking the time to watch this video, and hey, go team!